Welcome back to Just Got Brady on BJPenn.com. I'm your host, Cole Shelton. Episode 179 is live. Had a UFC Vegas 98 this weekend. First up, we're going to be joined by Alex Morono to preview his fight against Daniel Rodriguez. Really good job with Alex. This fight kind of came up together on short notice. And Alex knows he has to fight a lot better than his last one. He's really frustrated with that performance because Nico Price, he said that was the worst camp he's ever had, the worst weight cuts. Everything didn't go well, and the fight showed, and he was watching it. He's very frustrated with the performance he put on. So he's really looking forward to getting in there against a guy like Daniel, who he knows is a tough out, to really show everyone how good he is. And then we close things out talking to Josh Fremd to preview his fight against Abdul Razak Al Hassan. We did have an interview with Chris Barnett. Obviously, his opponent changes, so we're not going to hear that one. But really good chat with Josh here, who kind of knows he could be fighting for his job here against Abdul Razak, who's coming off that controversial fight against Cody Brundage, who is one of Josh's teammates. But Josh thinks this is a really fun fight, and he thinks he has all the tools to be able to finish Abdul. But be sure to share the show, subscribe, and tune in next week for another episode of Just Scrap Radio. All right, we're jumping UFC welterweight Alex Morono, who's back in action here next week. And now, Alex, how's it going, man?
Good. You guys can see I literally just got off the mats on a pad session. I'm in the gym's office now doing this interview, man. So on that grind, I got maybe 5 or 6 sessions left, and I'm done. I'm excited to be done with training and go on to the battle.
Pretty quick turnaround from your last fight. Like, how happy were you to get this quick turnaround? Because I know you like being active as possible.
I do. I was happy with the timing. I was really happy with the opponent. Oddly enough, there was almost some relief in getting D-Rod finally. I just we actually fight very similarly. I expected this matchup for a couple of years now, and I was pretty happy to get it. So I know he's gonna stand and bang it out. You know I will. So that's gonna be a fun fight.
Just quickly on your last fight, what do you take away from that one against Nico? Like, I know it kind of came together pretty quickly. Like, I know you didn't have that full camp for it. So, like, what you take away from that?
And that was, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. I performed horribly. I had a very abnormal fight week, a weird weight cut, and an even weirder rehydration. I knew during my fight day morning game plan shakeout, it was going to be a weird night. It was just like miscalculations and weird circumstances on my end. I take full responsibility. That will never happen again. Like, I got a lot of criticism from the fans, rightfully so. No one lost more money than I lost in that fight. It came out of there untouched, just freaking zapped. But I mean, I'm coming this fight week a lot lighter, much easier weight cut. Like, big weight cuts are overrated. I've been, I've done small weight cuts. I've done big weight cuts. I'm going back to my roots. Small weight cuts, a lot of speed, a lot of cardio. That's what I'm gonna be doing.
Do you think like it played a role just turning around that quickly and like having back-to-back weight cuts played a role in that, or was it just like, or did
No,
you know what the reason was?
no. I mean, it was just the weight cut was there was just a couple of hurdles. I think I was just feeling abnormal on fight week, just physically. And then the weight cut actually went really according to schedule. It was a lot. But then the rehydration, my body was just like not accepting certain things. It was weird, man. I mean, I had to I consulted a nutritionist and my strength coach, and we finally kind of figured out what I can do to keep things consistent. But that was a new experience for me. It'll never happen again. And it cost me a lot of money and a win, more importantly, which sucks.
And then with D-Rod, like, and how happy are you with this opponent? Like, yeah, good name, like been around for a while, like has some pretty exciting fights. Like, how happy were you to get a name like this, especially after that last one?
Yeah, I mean, anytime I get to train for a non-wrestler is just more fun. Granted, I did a jiu-jitsu class right before my striking session, but I mean, I just think this is like a fan-friendly fight. I like D-Rod. We fought on the same card once before. Seems like a cool dude. I admire his resolve when he's in the octagon. He just stands and bangs it out. He's got good striking. So, I mean, this is for me, it's an ideal matchup. Ideal matchup. As a martial artist, I like this challenge the most. I think it's the most fun to watch, and it's the matchups I have the most fun training for. So, I mean, to me, this is as good as it gets.
Was this camp again like split between Fortis and your own gym, or how'd you kind of do this one?
Yeah, split between Fortis and Houston. Man, Jacoby just fought on the Contender Series last night. Absolutely ragdolled his opponent. That was awesome. He got a contract, rightfully so. He's going to give guys some problems. But I've been working a lot with Jeff Neal, who's awesome. He's fighting RDA at the end of the month. And so I needed a good southpaw striker. And Jeff, in my opinion, is the best southpaw striker. So I've been getting great looks here in Houston at my gym, and then at War, and then in Dallas up at Fortis. Man, those guys are always beasts. So, man, it's been a very, very good, fruitful fight camp.
Does that help fight camp, or like you have a guy in your weight class like Jeff fighting? What is it, like 2 weeks after you, 2 or 3? Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks right after you. That you have span this week. Like, you have kind of guys around you all fighting so close together.
Yeah, thankfully I don't have to do that many rounds with Span as he
Yeah.
is and a monster. But no, man, there's actually a couple of other welterweights in that room as well. Like Ramez is fighting soon.
Mhm.
Kyle Kreschmer is one of Jacoby's training partners. Jacoby's in that room. There's a really, I think the welterweights is probably the most like deep roster of fighters at Fortis, man. So I do not have a lack of training partners there.
How did all those AKA wrestlers end up at Fortis?
I think recommended by Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, you should interview Jacoby or Kyle Kreschmer. Those guys are
Yeah.
awesome. They'll give you all the information I couldn't, but I'm so happy to have met him. I've had Kyle Kreschmer in my gym a couple times for some wrestling workshops. He's a good man. And Jacoby's a freaking beast. I mean, he really is. I see him get after it in the room as well. That man got no quit in him. It's awesome.
With D-Rod, like, do you imagine this one just kind of a kickboxing fight, or do you think someone might shoot for a takedown in this one?
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. I'm pretty sure we're gonna stand and strike, but like I'm still wrestling and grappling. I'm sure he is too. I don't know. You kind of have to expect it. If you don't expect it to happen, it's gonna happen. So I mean, I anticipate we'll mostly strike, but I wouldn't be surprised if he shoots. I don't think he'd be surprised if I shoot. I don't think I'm gonna shoot if I'm being honest. But I mean, you never know. I'll go where the fight takes me.
What have you made of his last couple fights? Like going to that Neil Magny fight, like he was a top 15 guy, then lost to Ian Gary, who was a top 10, top 5 guy. And then that last fight against Calvin was kind of a weird one with their welterweight. Then like on fight week, Calvin's like, yeah, we're doing middleweight now. So kind of throws everything off. What have you kind of made of his last couple fights?
So the fight that I actually got the most on was when he fought the Leech.
Mm-hmm.
So I've watched that fight a few times, and then I watched all of his other fights live. Neil Magny just has kind of like a grindy style. Kind of caught up to him at the end of the round. I honestly, when I saw D-Rod got matched up with Ian Gary, because I fought Tim Means on that same card, that I thought D-Rod was gonna outbox Ian. I did not expect that fight to go down how it went down. So like it made me think more highly of Ian Gary, and I don't know. I really thought D-Rod was gonna just piece him up on the outside. And then a fight with Kelvin Gastelum is hard for anybody at any weight class. I mean, that guy's durable. He can box well. He can wrestle well. So I mean, like his he's lost 3 times, but they're all high level opponents. So I mean, nothing to take away from him. Before that, he beats the Leech and he beats Kevin Lee. His last 5 have been, top tier guys.
When guys are on a losing streak like this, like, is it hard to kind of like not like feed into that or be like, oh, maybe they are like a bit over the hill, like maybe this is kind of get to the end and like still kind of get up for them and be like, because D-Rod, he's shown he can knock guys out pretty quickly, has a lot of power. Like, is it hard to like kind of get past that or like not get too complacent looking at their last couple fights?
No, I never ever try to find like an easy psychological edge. When you do that, man, and the fight is hard, which it will be. Some guys start to crumble, so I always expect like the absolute hungriest, best version of my opponents. And like I've never lost 2 in a row in the UFC. I've never lost 3 in a row. I hope to never lose 3 in a row. If I was 0 for 3 going into a fourth, I would be going ape shit crazy in the fight. So no, if anything, I would imagine he's going to fight harder because he's effectively fighting for his place on the roster. So I think I'm going to get the most dangerous, most prepared D-Rod that ever existed.
Is there any pressure on you? Like, you just never know with the UFC. Like, they sign a bunch of guys. You never know losing 2 in a row. Like, is there any pressure on you going to this one?
I don't think so. I hope not. I've taken a lot of short notice fights. I like Sean. We have got a good rapport. I don't think I hope, and I hope not, honestly. But like you get guys like Sam Alvey, they always did right by the company, and so I would think I have quite a bit of leeway and leverage. Like I thoroughly plan on retiring in the UFC whenever that may be.
How do you kind of see this one playing out then?
Man, 15 minutes of damage.
Mm-hmm.
That's a movement and punches. I mean, I always just give myself 15 minutes to do as much damage as possible. That's what I'm looking to do.
Is there a little bit of like a chip on your shoulder to like kind of can prove that last fight was like not like a fluke, but just kind of get past that and kind of prove everyone like you are much better than that?
100%, 100%. Like you're only as good as your last fight. And man, I got a lot to make up for on that one. I still think about that fight every day. Coach told me that would haunt my headspace for some time. So like I always tell my fighters, like when you win a fight, it lasts for like 2. When you lose a fight, it lasts until you win your next fight. So I'm looking to start a chapter of positivity after a win.
What do you think a win over D-Rod does for you? Like, even though he is on a 3-fight losing streak, like the losses are to those top 15 guys. Like, where do you think a win kind of puts you?
I'll tell you, it puts the win bonus in my bank account, which
Yeah.
is most important. But man, I don't know. I don't care. I don't care about rankings as much. I like volume, man. I want to get to 30 fights in the UFC. So that's my goal. So I mean, he's another name. It could be anybody. It doesn't really matter. Down to fight anyone they put in front of me, anytime. I mean, if I could fight 6 times in a year, I would if they let me.
Yeah, this is what 22 for you now in the UFC, and I know when we talked for a while, you always kind of thought 20 fights, and you kind of reassess it. Like, it's now kind of 30 that next goal, and kind of reassess your career after
Yeah,
that.
30 fights, 20 wins in the UFC would be awesome. But it's funny, man. You talk to like older veterans, and they're like, the numbers don't matter anymore. I'm just enjoying it. And I'll tell you, man, the UFC pays me so well. They really do. I can't believe I'm getting paid to fight as much as I am. So I mean, nothing but gratitude towards the UFC. I'll do anything they ask. I'm so happy to be part of the company for this long now. I'm coming up on 10 years here pretty soon. So I mean, but yeah, I'm stoked.
Is it kind of weird in the gym where like you and Jeff are kind of like those veteran guys, where a lot of these guys are looking up to? Where like a couple years ago, like you guys are kind of the ones coming up and like trying to get into that rankings. Now it feels like you guys kind of the more veteran guys at Fortis.
I mean, yeah, that's how it goes. It's really cool to see too. And the same thing applies for me in Houston, because there's a few vets like Daniel Pineda, Derek Lewis, myself, and then we got like the guys who are like in the mid zone, like Adrian Yanez, he's done very well. Then you got guys like Josh Fremd swinging through. So I mean, it's just cool seeing like the cycles of fighters, and man, I never imagined I would get to 20 plus fights in the UFC. So honestly, every fight beyond my first contract has been like an MMA God's blow. I'm just riding this wave as long as I can.
Just final thing, like I imagine this will probably be it for you this year. It's like, what is kind of the goal then going into next year?
Same thing. If I could get 3 fights, that'd be great. Minimum 2 fights. I'm actually getting a house built. They're about halfway done with it. So I need to collect some more UFC checks to make that bad boy get paid for.
Well, Alex, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this again.
Well, you got it, brother.
All right, we're doing UFC middleweight Josh Fremd, who's back and actually on October 12th. Josh, how's it going, man?
It's going well, my man. It's going well.
Pretty quick turnaround from the last fight. Like, how happy are you with that then? Getting just like what, not even like 3 months later, almost like 3 months to the date, pretty much.
Yeah, almost. I'm happy about it. I was very excited when they asked me to do it, and I was like, yeah, because I am not happy with that last performance. So I was excited to be able to turn it around really quick because I took no injuries, no damage, and was ready to get back in there.
Just quickly on the last fight, what do you take away from that one? Like, obviously, getting to fight at your kind of new home in Colorado, and then kind of having that kind of fight. Like, what were your kind of takeaways from that?
Uh, Man, I gotta do better. I gotta make it a fight and not get held down the whole time. I just got to do better. I got to perform better, basically.
Were you worried that the UFC might let you go after that one? Or did they always tell you that they were gonna bring you back?
Oh, I mean, after every loss, you're always worried, no matter what your contract says, because I mean, they could let you go at any time. So yeah, I was definitely worried. But that's why I was so excited for the quick turnaround.
And then getting a guy like Abdul Razak, how happy are you with you? Like a pretty big name, fought some pretty notable guys. Like, is this like how excited were you with this opponent?
Oh, I mean, I didn't really care who it was. I just I wanted to get back in there, and they offered him, and I mean, I think it's a good matchup for both of us. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna try and take each other's heads off. We're not gonna try and wrestle or do anything. It's gonna be a good fight. And hey, I mean, I feel like I have advantages in many places, so I'm excited about the matchup.
Obviously, his last fight was against your teammate, and kind of that whole controversy. What do you take away from that? Like that, or do you even look at that fight in the brief seconds? You kind of focus on some other things?
Oh, I mean, like Cody Brundage and I are just different styles, so I'm not going to take a ton away from that. I mean, what I'll take away from that is like don't hit people in the back of the head. But no, I'm just gonna watch. I've watched all of his fights. I know what he's good at. I know what he's gonna come after. And hey, I'm good at what he's good at, and he's good at what I'm good at. So it's gonna be a fun fight.
Everyone kind of knows about him with the one punch knockout power, but it seems like the later he gets into fights is when he tends to fade. So you just think the longer the fight goes, the better it is for you.
Yeah, I mean, with his body type, that's usually how it goes. And Yeah, I mean, the later it goes, the better it is. I feel like I have advantages on the ground and in different places, and I think we both have one punch knockout power. I haven't shown that in the UFC just yet, but yeah, I think it's a good matchup.
A lot of good strikers out in Colorado with these. Like, who are kind of the main guys you're working with for this one?
I have what I personally think the perfect teammate to emulate the guy that I'm fighting, and Austin Jones. He's an awesome fighter, good training partner. Hey, and yeah, I think it's gonna be it's good. It's been a great camp, and I got a few more weeks, and I'm excited to keep pushing.
With this one, just back at the Apex, like, is that a bit disappointing for you? Is it just kind of who cares? Is like just get another fight?
Yeah, at this point, who cares? I manifested, and I had so much fun being able to fight here in Denver. I wish I could have done better. But I'm not staying like down on it or anything. I'm just ready to go and just go fight and do better, you know?
And then a teammate and a good friend, Brendan Royval's the main event of your card. Like, how
Yeah, I mean,
is that be on the card?
that's awesome. I think I hold Brandon in such high regard that I get to fight on his main event card. That's awesome. I'm excited for that.
Does that just make fight week and like the weight cut and everything a bit easier? Having like a teammate, just kind of someone like going along with it with you.
Nah, I wouldn't say it makes it easier. It doesn't make it harder. I kind of tend to stay to myself during the week, and the weight cut, my team doesn't like it, but I kind of like to do it alone. It's like where I mentally get locked in. And but it's gonna be awesome to see Brandon fight live. It's gonna be great.
With this one, like, how do you kind of see this fight playing out?
One of us are going out, and I'm going in there. I'm either gonna come out on my shield, or I'm gonna knock this guy out, or I'm gonna submit him. I'm gonna finish him. I'm I won't go too much detail, but I'm very disappointed in my last performance. That was the most boring fight I think I've ever been in, and I just want to go out there and I just want to show what I'm capable of, and I haven't done that since I got to the UFC, and it's bugging me. So I'm working really hard, and I'm trying. I want to put it all together. So I'm coming out with my shield or on it.
Is the loss more frustrating for you, or the way the fight played out, just like how boring it was for fans?
Oh, the way it played out. I've lost before. Everyone loses, but like the way I lost was just it was frustrating. I worked so hard in camp. I did so much extra stuff. I just everything that I put into it, and for me to go out there and put the performance that I put out was just frustrating.
With this one, like, say you do get past the duel, like, where do you think that kind of puts you? Like, he is a kind of, he's not near that top of team, but a win over him, like, probably puts you pretty close to it.
I mean, I'm not really thinking past that. I'm just thinking about the fight right now. I mean, any win in the UFC is good, but against him, I think it would do me some benefits, to win against him. But I'm not looking too far past that.
Any pressure do you think going on you going to this? He's coming off 2 losses.
Yeah, but I've been there. I feel like I do better. It sucks to say, but I think I do better when my back's against the wall. So, I mean, it's not a hidden secret. Like, this is my job on the line, right? So I gotta go fight.
Yeah, I actually think your best performance in the UFC might be that Cedricus one, is when you had 2 losses in a row and kinda if
Yeah,
you lose 3, especially your first 3 fights in the UFC, like, you're probably out of there, and to do what you did to him, like, I think that kinda shows that.
yeah, man. And there's people who lose 2 in a row and get cut. So it's fighting. It's the way it goes, and I just got to go put a performance on. And yeah, I fought Cedriquez on like 9 days notice or something. And I don't know, when I just don't think about it, I go out there like Nike says, just do it. I feel like I do better.
Out of the duels, like, opponents, like, which ones do you really look at compared to you? Or do you just, like, do you think he's fought anyone kinda like you?
No, no, I don't think so. Not that I looked at and watched. I don't think he's ever fought someone my stature.
Uh, there's been a lot of guys that have just out wrestled him, been able to control him. Like, is that gonna be part of the game, or would you rather kinda obviously your wrestling is always there, but would you kind of prefer to be a striking one?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I got in the UFC, by just going on a knockout run, and I want to get back to that. I want to win, period. So if I win by submission, I win by like any of that, I'm cool with it. But if I had a choice, yeah, I want to knock this guy out.
Who is gonna be in your corner for this one?
It's gonna be probably, well, it is Mark Montoya, my teammate Austin Jones, and I gotta figure out the next one because the one coach I had, he's not able to make it. So far, just those two.
Get past Abdul. Like I imagine this is probably it for you this year. Just the end of October, like just 2 months left, or you kind of hoping maybe squeeze one in.
I come out healthy. Yeah, I want to get one more in. I wanted to fight 3 times this year, and I was booked to fight in April, but had a couple things outside the gym stop me from making it to the fight. So if I come out healthy, yeah, I would love to turn around quick.
Just final thing, like what is kind of the goal for you going forward then?
All right, so I'll just be real with you. When I was coming up and trying to make it to the UFC, I always thought that if I never make it, then I'd be like a grumpy old man. It'd be a regret. I made it to the UFC, and so far I haven't performed to what I believe and what I know that I'm capable of. And if I don't do that, that would probably be my biggest regret. And what I'm working towards is just putting it all together, putting a performance that I can be proud of, and like just going 100% and giving it all.
I know when I've talked to Cody, he's kind of that too. Like sometimes he feels like he doesn't put things together. Like, what do you think that is? Like, you think it is like the nerves getting the fight, or like, what do you think you know why, or is it just kind of
No, I really don't, man, because I don't get nervous. Like I love fighting. I'm not scared. I'm not intimidated by anyone. I don't know. I don't make the right decisions at the right times sometimes, and yeah, I don't know. I want to figure it out.
well, Josh, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this again.
Hey, thanks, my man. You have a good one.